My name is Westley Johnson, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Soulivity Live. Hey, how you doing, sir? My sister, how are you?
Hey.
It's Lent, right? we might need some more wine for this.
So, let's get this party started, y'all. Hey, my sister, mademoiselle.
That was the most amazing introduction I've ever heard.
Oh, for being here. Oh, what an amazing day. Go make it even more amazing. Myself and Madison, Westley Johnson. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning. Full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. See you next time. I'm done. Hello and welcome to another edition of Soulivity Live, everyone. My name is Westley Johnson, and I am so glad you joined us because once again, you picked the perfect moment to get inspired. But before we get into today's show, I want to once again thank our guests from our last show. I want to thank award-winning performance poet and artist and author Jay Ivey, as well as Dr. Melva Green, a Johns Hopkins trained psychiatrist, and the therapist from the hit TV show Hoarders. Now, we had a fantastic conversation about their journeys through life, as well as their brand new books. Now, if you missed it, you can always see a replay of this show or any of our other shows by visiting our new and improved YouTube channel. Also, subscribe while you're there because you'll receive alerts and notifications every time that we go live. So let's get to today's show. All right. As this year comes to a close in just a few short weeks, I believe it's time for everyone to take stock and to think about ways we can learn from the past 12 months. Now, if you need a refresher about everything that happened, because it was a lot, the folks over at Jib Jab were helpful in making sure that none of us would forget the year 2020. I mean, check this out.
It all seemed pretty great when 2020 was new. Billie Eilish swept the Grammys, we had Parasite too. But Brexit and impeachment, when the whole thing began, should have warned us 2020 was about to hit the fan. We all went into lockdown because of COVID-19. We kept our faces covered and our hands super clean. We couldn't get a haircut, so we looked really weird. And somehow all the toilet paper just disappeared. We went to work by zooming on a pad or a phone. We couldn't go to movies, so we streamed them at home. But massive crowds of citizens still took to the streets. There were marches, there were rallies, there were zillions of tweets. 2020 brought us everything from fashion sweats and Tiger King. Murder hornet, what a scare! TikTok dances everywhere, Bezos making crazy sums. Sports and empty stadiums, and sad and we said R.I.P. to Cody Chadwick, RBG. Political debates were full of bluster and pride. Candice COVID was the president's October surprise. The counting took forever when the ballots were in. Till Biden said, "You're fired."
Let the lawsuits begin.
The whole West Coast was burning, there was financial stress.
Fly up to Wakanda and get out of this mess.
The year has kicked our butts and yet it won't lay us low. The time is up, so 2020, you've got to go. 2020, you've got to go. Your days are numbered, 2020, you've got to go. 2020, you've got to go. The time is up, 2020, you've got to go.
I hope you enjoyed that from Jib Jab. Well, once again, back with us is our Soulivity Power Panel to talk about 2020 and what is on their minds for our year in review. Now, let's meet them again, shall we? D'Angelo Thompson is known for his mastery of beauty and quality aesthetic. He is also one of the entertainment industry's most sought-after artisans. He has taught and curated makeup seminars the past 20 years for many worldwide companies. And he also just recently released a new book, A 100 Days of Gratitude. So there's always something beautiful to learn when you watch his new show, Beauty and Gratitude, airing select Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, yes, the love coach is in the house. Candice Harper is a professional matchmaker and relationship coach working with singles and couples to create healthy relationships. She's also host of the Ask for Candy, a weekly podcast, and the leader of the Epic Circle, a free live virtual healing circle for women coping with relationships during the pandemic. Now, you can catch her sweet and sexy new show right here on Soulivity, Ask for Candy, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Now, if you're looking for something new and fresh, look to Conciencias con Cocktails, Javier Pedroza. Javier is an innovative celebrity stylist, visual director, producer, philanthropist. His portfolio includes major red carpet events, editorial, fashion shows, costume designs, merchandising displays for such companies as Ralph Lauren, St. John, Neiman Marcus, and Saks Fifth Avenue. Now, you can get close and personal with Javier and Conciencias con Cocktails every Thursday at 6 p.m. And it is my pleasure to welcome to Soulivity Live. Welcome back, y'all. Candy, what's up, girl? Javi, what's up? D'Angelo, what's going on? Oh, man, I love it when you guys are here.
Thank you.
I love you.
Oh, man, it is like, it's like homecoming, like, right? Like the family's back in the house. A lot has gone on in 2020, y'all.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
Crazy year.
Ooh,
But a very much needed year, I think, also.
Candice, you were just talking offline about that this whole year has been us, being still. I mean, the lockdowns and being more socially distant. I mean, we spend a lot more time at home. I mean, it's unfortunate that it took a pandemic for this to happen, but it's crazy. What do you guys think about this? I mean, I'll go to you, Candice, first.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. As human beings, it usually does take something catastrophic to have us wake up, right? And so while we wouldn't wish, what COVID has been on anyone as a society and a culture, like I said earlier, we needed to sit the hell down. Like, the direction we were going in socially, politically, just in our smaller communities, it just wasn't a viable direction. And so I believe Mother Nature, Source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, said it is time to sit your asses down. And
exactly.
What is important? I know that's what happened for me. Like,
Yes.
to really look at what was important in my life and take stock.
What about you, Javi? I mean, what's been the first thing that you kind of think about around this whole year in terms of just getting still?
Freedom. I think of freedom and I think of vision. I think 2020 has given us vision, which makes perfect sense as 2020 equals perfect vision. I think that we really got the chance to take a look at ourselves, take a look at our surroundings. Like Candy mentioned, our political system was going where, our education system is where, like our communities, like we really have to get back to community, to knowing who our neighbors are. Especially me, I live in New York, and we New Yorkers, we don't see, right? So we literally have to make an effort to go and knock the doors of our neighbors and say, hi, I'm Javier. If you need anything, by all means, that kind of interaction. And that's how I was raised in Puerto Rico, with that kind of community. So I think community in 2021 is going to get stronger due to 2020.
Wow. I love that. How about you, D'Angelo?
I think most important thing that I've experienced, what you all know, is gratitude. Often when I wake up in the morning, I write down gratitude. It's grace and mercy is what I'm grateful for. I think we've been extended a lot of mercy with what's gone on in the world, and not only in the US, but in the world at large. I look at things from a global level, not so micro. I look at it at macro. And grace, the grace to be able to, as Candice said, to sit still, the grace to connect with our neighbors, as Javier said. So often, I know for me, I was just going until the universe said, be still, sit down. And then my body would shut down. I don't want to live like that anymore. And I think all of us are at that point that we realize what matters most.
Right. I'm thinking about, it's been a roller coaster.
Yes.
Right. I mean, in the midst of the pandemic and everything that's been happening, I mean, there's been that part of it that's been horrible for a lot of people. A lot of people are hurting right now. In fact, I just want to take a moment and send some prayers out to one of our Soulivity collaborators who recently lost her mother to COVID.
Oh, okay.
It touches my heart too. And it was sudden and that kind of thing. And so just want to make sure that I want to mention her name. I don't want, that kind of thing, but she knows who she is. We're with you. All of us are with you.
Yes, we are.
I wanted to ask each, before this, I wanted to ask each of you about what's your main takeaway from 2020? What is the main thing that has been a through line for you, good, bad, or indifferent, that you're taking stock of and that you're assessing and reevaluating and growing through for 2021?
Yes.
D'Angelo, I'll go to you first.
Two things.
Okay.
You are not in control. Second thing, you are in control.
Wow. Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really want you to expand on that a little bit, though.
Okay. You're not in control because the universe has created a virus that none of us can control, right? And we worked diligently and hard to find a vaccine and to figure out how to cope through life and with each other and the social distance. That's out of our control, But the elements of control is how you wake up every morning and how you choose to interact with people. Do you lean into your anger and your hate, or do you lean into the positivity and wanting to connect and help others? So that's what we have control of, and ourselves, our beingness.
Okay.
That's what we have control of.
Okay. What about what we don't have control of?
What we don't have control of, there's a thing that I used to always meditate on: let go. Because it will align. Let go. Because there's been oftentimes I'm holding on to some dream or something I have or goal I have to reach. But once I let go of the reins and go, okay, I've done all I can do. I'm letting go. And it lands beautifully.
Wow.
It lands beautifully. So allowing the universe to do what it needs to do to set you on your path. In Western culture, we're so avid about hitting markers, and that's great. I'm a goal setter. I'm a huge goal setter. But at the same time, I know sometimes I just need to be still and let go,
I was thinking about over the last few days, as I was thinking about, wow, this year has kind of flown by.
Yes.
And that we tend to, we're all high achievers. I look at all three of you as high achievers. And that part of that is, we do set goals. We do have a panoramic view of what's possible.
Yes.
But that also tends for us to push us into the future where we're living out there instead of right in this moment. And so when you're talking about, things that we can control and things that we don't control, I'm remembering that, and I'm taking stock of that even now. And so thank you for that. Thank you for that. I mean, because all we can really do is live in this moment. We can't in 21 days from now, I'm going to change that. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
You can have intention. You can intend, which is a powerful thing, but in that intention, being present is very important. And that was very hard for me. And I am so thankful for 2020 because it really has brought me to my core and who I am.
Wow. Javi, what about you? I mean, what things right now are you kind of like taking stock of, and that you're kind of, okay, well, we're at this in 2020 and I've got to think about things that I want to take into the new year. What are you thinking about right now?
Yeah, I think 2020 taught, like, it really brought light to being empathetic, being respectful, understanding education, right? And not via our education system, but via, like D'Angelo was saying, a global perspective. And I think if you are able to kind of get yourself out of the equation for a minute and then start really going into different cultures, different races, understand everybody's trauma, understand why people today behave in the way that they do. And I'll give you an example. Like, obviously I'm Puerto Rican, right? So Puerto Rican and Colombian. So one of the things that I'm reading right now is the war against all Puerto Ricans. And I am in shock. Like, I am telling you, because there are things in this book that I was just like, first of all, I was raised in Puerto Rico and I didn't know half of this, right? Because this is talks about our movement. It talks about how the independent people wanted Puerto Rico to be independent. It talked about how the United States treated Puerto Rico. It talks about how they took away our flags, right?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense why at a Puerto Rican Day Parade, you see millions and millions of Puerto Rican flags. People are so proud to have that, but people don't know that it was taken away from us.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So I think that if I've done a lot of what I've learned is that racism is not a pandemic. Racism is a chronic disease. It needs to be handled as a mental illness, right? Because the pandemic talks about, it implies that it's an outbreak, right? It implies that, oh my God, it just came out of nowhere. That's not the case. No. Racism has been here forever, right? It's not like the flu. So I think that because we can't treat it with vaccination, right? There's no vaccination against racism, right? So I think that we need to treat it as a chronic disease. And I think that we need to move to 2020 using this verbiage, right? Understanding words matter, understand that, you can't just say things and not have like the specific definition of what you are saying. Because again, racism to me is like a cancer. It's like diabetes. You know what I'm saying? Right. You need to treat it as such. And again, I think with white Americans in this country, I think as soon as they start doing their research on where they come from and understanding who their heroes are and understanding all the beautiful history of their country, then going back to control, there won't be no need for you to try to control this country right here, because this ain't yours.
Right.
Okay. So we need to go back to indigenous people and also say, here's your land back. Let's talk. So I think 2021 is going to be great for all of us, great for marginalized communities, because we are working towards that. And I think 2020 brought all of us into that perspective. I mean, seeing the screen and I look at all of you and all of our colors and all of what do we do, this is beautiful to me. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in 2021.
Oh, I love it. I love that, Javier. It's funny because when I look at how you just framed it, which was beautiful, we're talking about like fear and ignorance, right?
Yes.
Those are not things that you just wish away. You're constantly battling that. And then you raise the state of consciousness up to a higher level. We're down here right now. We need to raise it up. And you can only do that through exactly what you're talking about, Javier, where knowledge is power, and having these open kind of conversations with each other is power. Learning the history. This is resistance. And consistency, and that it doesn't stop with one generation. You pass that on to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, and we just grow in consciousness. So thank you for that. Candy, how about you? Candy, our sister girl, sister love,
Oh, no. So both Angelo and Javier touched on a couple things that are really resonating and standing out for me. The concept of control, and I love it that Javier said. So for me, throughout this whole experience, this idea of how we show up in our own lives and how it affects who we are in our community, right? That my thing is always that we start with self, right? Starting with self-love, acceptance, all of that stuff. And I do believe that empathy comes from that ability, like Javi was saying, to be able to see oneself as valuable enough that you can point it at others. Like, you were saying how if white people look back and really like understood true value, they wouldn't have to compete with others. And I think that that's true on an individual level. And this COVID situation has shone the light on that for me in my personal life, like nothing else. Having to learn how to be patient with myself. The fact that, we are living in such a different sort of framework where things aren't so readily available because of COVID, where we can't just come and go the way that we were before because of COVID. And being able to be patient with that, which requires being patient with self and then patient with others. Like, I think that is something that is very, that can be just as viral as a pandemic if people are willing to be present. How do I get patience? How do I take this as an opportunity to let go of all that rushing and forcing and stuff that I was doing? And that goes to what Angela was saying about control. And trying to make something happen when out there, there's no space for it to happen the way that I planned for it to happen. I'm going to have to pivot and get creative. And all of that stuff requires patience and empathy with each other. So that's some of the main stuff that I'm really present to for myself. Also knowing that it was something that I always preached and didn't necessarily know to practice until having to deal with all of this. And all of a sudden it just became real. Like I said earlier, sit down. Like, you gotta quiet and be patient and understand that the world is what the world is and get creative with it.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for that, Candy. I'm getting smarter all the time with you three.
Same here, Brian. All four of us. Yes.
Oh man. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, everybody. Everybody just stay where you are. And when we come back, I'm going to ask my power panel about what is the one most memorable experience of 2020 for them. So we'll be right back. Are you ready? All right, we're in commercial. Are you ready? Are you ready to become your best self now? I mean, like right now. If you're ready to become your best self, then why don't you join me and Soulivity magazine as we present the New Year, New You celebration along with our very special partner, Beyond Words Publishing. It's going to be Saturday, December 12th, starting at 1 p.m. Now, guys, the best part is you'll be able to watch all of this and enjoy it all from the comfort of your own home. I mean, you'll be able to watch all of these amazing people share their gifts and thoughts about how to close out this year and begin the next year with light, love, and power. I mean, how cool is that? And you're going to be able to walk into 2021 with freshness and some spirit and, of course, inspiration. You do not want to miss this incredible event. We'll see you then. Okay. And we are back with our power panel because we're talking about 2020 in a review. So, D'Angelo.
Yes.
Most memorable experience of 2020. It can be either in the news or a personal experience.
That's very hard. There's been many in 2020. However, I think how we share information has been very interesting this year. I remember when Ahmaud Arbery happened, I got the text very early in the morning. And I was furious with my friend. I said, I do not want to wake up to this. You know, I do not want to see a lynching, basically, you know. And then that happened, and Fast forward, George Floyd, which we know blew everything up, and Breonna Taylor. So how we take in information and how we share information. So I'm very careful now with what I open in the morning. I make sure that I am solid in my meditations, my practice, getting my day set to a certain tone, and then I take in information. So that's it. Really, 2020 has taught me how to siphon what I let in here and in my heart. So,
wow.
Yes.
That's nice. Candy, how about you? Most memorable experience, personally or in the news?
I'm going to go with, in the news and in sort of popular culture, because there's just been a couple of things that I think in the past I might not have been as present to and excited about, but two that came right to mind are when Kamala Harris came out as Vice President-elect to Mary J. Blige.
Hello.
Tears of joy, and not tears because it was in resistance to what is so right now, but just separating out the politics and thinking of being a little girl and dreaming of what I could be and who I could be. Like, I think just being able to connect with, because she is, we all are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's doing what she's doing, we all are. And the fact that she used Mary J. Blige as her walking out music, like it meant so much. Separate of whatever you believe about policy and all of that stuff. It moved me to tears. And then the other thing that was really memorable and is also somewhat recent was that Dolly Parton was on the Stephen Colbert show. And she had this little song that she had written. And I have this thing about Dolly Parton. I love her with all my heart.
Me too. Me too.
And I can't remember the exactly what the words are or anything like that. But when she sang that song, what I was really aware of was that I and I feel like all of us, if we're willing, when we just allow ourselves to have those little moments of just like pure love and pleasure, that it can turn an entire day around. It can turn an entire week, an entire month. Where if we just sit in it and be with it. It was just a sweet, sweet little moment. And yeah, it stuck with me. Just like 5-10 seconds of her singing a little song that she wrote.
Wow.
I mean, and of course, there's a lot of memorable things that felt adverse at the time. But the one thing that I do love about 2020 is out of the adversity with each thing, it catalyzed me to grow around something, or it catalyzed me to move about something, or to know about something.
Wow. How about you, Javi?
So for me, I think I like the guy said, and Candy, there's so many, right, that come up, but I think almost a blanket, right, of 2020 that was shocking for me was media and fake news. Ooh. Our media, I mean, in shock, talking again to like Candy's point of Kamala, right? I remember first hearing of her and that she has a nomination. And I was like, oh my God, this means everything, right? Because her mother is Indian, she's Asian, and her dad is from Jamaica. And she's, there's so much meaning, right? And then, one of the things that I'm also grateful for is Conciencias con cocktails. And I had, Rosa Clemente on, who was the first woman, one of the first, the first ticket where there was a Black woman as president and there was a Puerto Rican woman as vice president.
Right.
And the fact that I didn't know that, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know that at the moment when I was doing my research on her. And then it really dawned on me that media has such a handle on the population, right? So creating these kind of outlets that we're creating, I think are important, so important, because we don't owe anything to anyone. You know what I mean? Like what we speak is really our truth, is what we feel, is our experiences. And I think the other thing for 2020 with me was pain. It was, me, I'm Latino, feeling the pain of my African-American brothers and sisters, feeling the pain of Afro-Latino populations, feeling the pain of our indigenous people of around the world. I think that for me, you know, embracing that pain, embracing the tears, you know, like literally that's the only way I feel we're going to get through the next level. It's really sitting down and understanding, right? And also get to know history. 95% of slaves from Africa went to Central America and South America. You see what I'm saying? People don't know this. People mostly think slaves and they think of the United States. You see what I'm saying? So where's the other 85% of our, right? So the point to that is, you know, if you're, some ancestors had not gone through to America and gone to Central, or you yourselves could be Afro-Latino, right? Like this is literally how I have come to understand this whole race thing. And I feel very blessed to have all of you by my side because I learned so much from you guys. And that's what I feel people need to do. We need to extend ourselves to enter into other cultures, to understand, not to steal from them, but to understand and to amplify the voices of those people who are suffering. Because I know from my lineage, I know I have some Africans, I have from my Puerto Rican side, right? A few Spanish people. And then from my Colombian side, I got a whole lot of Spanish people. So my ancestors were part of the problem. I got to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think instead of me saying, well, that was my ancestors, I don't know what to tell y'all, you know, I'll deal with that. Versus, well, that was my ancestors, so I have to fix it. Wow. Because I don't want the next generation to have to fix it.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Well, to the point of us learning from each other, my most memorable experience has been the continuation from, what was it, April or May? We kicked off the first show with you guys till now. It's just been this continual stream, and I have been just in a state of gratitude. That the three of you, as with our other Soulivity personalities, have been battling this fear and ignorance, as well as inspiring people that there's a different way to live. Yes. There really is a different way for us to live together on this planet, and not just here in the United States where we're broadcasting from, but around the world. That there's a better way. And that you guys are helping me in doing that. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And now I just lost my train of thought. I'll go to you, Javi. Most memorable guest on your show.
Oh my God.
I knew. I didn't want to ask you guys beforehand because I want to.
You wanted his reaction. It's such a thing because every time I finish a show, I was like, "Oh my God, best show ever! Oh my God, best!" You know, and I think it was because of the what we tackled on Conciencias con cocktails, which was, you know, really taking a look at our current events, but also really taking a dive into education, into really, you know, providing empathy and providing respect. I think I have a lot, and I love all of you guys because I love all of my guests, and I'm so thankful that they, you know, took a chance on coming on the show. I think I have to say thank you for that. I think that I'm going to go with Juania Locke and Sherry and T because they are two indigenous people who taught me so much, you know, like Sherry and T being an Afro-Indigenous woman who is such a warrior. Like, I mean, she has fought, she is literally a protector of our land, you know, like to meet someone like that, I gotta say, man, I haven't met someone like her. And Juania Locke, who is really taking the language and trying to preserve it and teach it so it doesn't die.
Mm.
Those people like that inspire me. So I'm going to go with our indigenous, gorgeous, beautiful, most amazing people, Sherry and T and Juania Locke. Kisses to all of you. Kisses, kisses, kisses.
Our battle warriors.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I got to put that two together. You know, to y'all it may not feel, together, but I'm putting it together.
Okay.
Battle warriors. Candy, how about you? I know you have guided us through this season through deepening our relationships with ourselves so that we can attract the outcomes that we want, including potential mates and partners. What is the most memorable show for you? Like the topic? You know, can you think? I know it's hard.
Well, I can say that my favorite one, because you got involved as well, and I think, I won't speak for you, but I feel like we both got kind of breakthroughs around it, was the Fat and Lonely show.
Ooh.
Because we were talking about, I remember we did a whole exercise around, because a lot of people are experiencing whatever they're perceiving as fat and lonely, right? Like I've gained the COVID weight and I've been isolated and all of that stuff. We did that exercise and we talked about being able to identify what fat's job is and what loneliness's job is. And we did that whole like sort of cross-coaching conversation of each other and discovered our own origination of where those stories came from. Which,
ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You got me. I forgot about that show. Yeah, you start talking about some comfort foods and other stuff. Like, okay, all right, we going there today.
Yeah.
Wow, nice one.
That's my favorite one. Hopefully, people who are listening got to experience their own breakthrough around it. Just identifying where the stories originated and how to get somewhere.
Yeah. And I should have prefaced my question with you, Javier, saying that on Soulivity, we love all our guests, right? We love them all. I mean, so this is not who's the best, just memorable, D'Angelo, how about you? Who, on Beauty and Gratitude, what guest do you remember?
Brian, that's hard. That's really hard. Shoot, everybody was great. I think of my most recent show with Reggie Walker. I think we got really real.
Oh, wow.
Really
yeah.
real about sexual abuse of young men and boys. And talking about that, I'm a survivor, he's a survivor, and being very open and honest about that. And that's what 2021 will be about, is really having honest, loving, nurturing conversations where people can reveal their traumas and work through them. Wow. So Reggie Walker.
Wow. Ooh. Now, see, I got to put myself on the spot here now too. I'm trying. Now it's hard. Now that's hard.
Aside from obvious company excluded.
Oh. That's like in its own category. Yeah. What's the most? Okay, I'm gonna do a little self-indulgence here and say. I did a show, and this is involve the year in review. Like the most prominent thing that we've all dealt with has been COVID. Yeah. And I did a show with Dr. Ebony Hilton.
Yes.
And my mom. And these ladies brought it. Whoo! It was one of those where I want to just sit back. Y'all go ahead and just educate.
Go, mama.
Yeah, because this has affected everybody. But people of color specifically, and why that show was so memorable, it's affected people of color so much worse. Because a lot of us are first responders, are on the front lines, are in jobs and situations where, we have to try to go to work. We have to be there. I mean, you think about people like sanitation workers and other kind of workers like that. Those jobs have to keep going. And so, they're touching trash, and that kind of thing. So they're surrounded by this virus that's there. So, that's my most memorable show. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We talked for like a long time after the show too. Wow. My mom was like, "Hey, I got to go, y'all. I got things I got to do." But it was really, really good. It was a really, really good show. So, thank you guys for that. Why don't we take another commercial break real quick? And when we come back, I want to get each of your ideas around, how do we move some things forward? How do we, within ourselves and our communities around having impact in terms of our world around us. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back, everybody.
Watch Live with Jesse and Melva right here on Soulivity TV every Sunday at 5:30 Eastern. Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us, a place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
All right, and we are back with our Soulivity panel. D'Angelo had to drop off, but we send him light and love. And I know you guys are going to love his new season of Beauty and Gratitude when it comes out in February. All right, so we're talking about, like, what can we do individually to support change in ourselves, as well as change, helping to affect change on a global scale and in our communities. I know this is passionate for both of you, I think, in different ways. So I think this is a nice balance. Javier, I'll go to you because I know this. Your show is your show specifically is about raising consciousness on a community and global scale. What are your thoughts about this?
My thoughts are that, we need to get back to community. We need to really, again, invest in our education and understanding what it means. Understanding our neighbors, again, just like, there's things that I've been taking a look at, for instance, New York City, right? I live here. So we need to start creating change where we live. And so what I've done is I really take, we have 5 boroughs. All 5 boroughs are very different. Their populations are very different. So, within 2020, when you're doing protests, right? And I was on the streets, with organizations like Street Writers NYC and all of that. So, and I remember going into specific neighborhoods, and depending on where you were, was the level of heightened, right, or attention security of yourself. So, for instance, Staten Island, right? Staten Island is a borough that is one of these boroughs that is like Blue Lives Matter, and one of these. And so I was like, why, right? And I'm not going to go to Staten Island and go talk to a cop and be like, yo, no, that's not it. Like, we can do the research. And so once you understand that the population in Staten Island is basically Irish and Italian for the most part, and then you understand their trauma, right? And then you understand what they went through, because how they came to this country, and the people that came from those countries, you know, and they were thrown out of their countries, either for crimes, either for whatever it was, right? Then you start understanding that when you tell these folks, no, you can't do that, or you have to wear a mask, or you have to, all of a sudden this trauma comes right back, right? Just like the African-American experience, right? With George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of these stories, you know, all these incidences that have happened, right? But I think as soon as you start understanding how the world works, then you understand that everything makes sense, right? And I think that capitalism is a huge problem, a global problem that we're going to have to get to in order to create change.
Wow. Candice, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Definitely pointed to a lot of things that really resonated with me. You know, I consider myself to be what I call a peaceful activist. And I'm also a big believer in seeking first to understand, then to be understood. But I'm also,
come a little closer, baby, because I can't hear you. Just
okay. But I was saying, here, let me turn up mine. I was saying that I'm also a big believer in seeking first to understand, and then to be understood. Yeah. And within that, I think that those of us, people of color, who come from an ancestry of racism and slavery and all that comes along with that, I think the onus is on not only us, but also our oppressors to be in a state of peaceful surrender around seeking first to understand, because that's really the only way through. It is difficult as it sounds like it is. I think that when we're willing to start on a private level, a personal level, a familial level, and then a community level, it's not nearly as daunting as it seems when we think globally.
Yes.
So I love what Javi said about, when we go to these communities where, what their experience is leaves them with no understanding of why Black Lives Matter is a thing, leaves them with no understanding why, people feel the way that they do about, people getting killed in the street, because they're saying, oh, but they're a criminal anyway, and feeling like those lives are worthless. So, when we're in those communities and they have no frame of reference to shout Black Lives Matter and to try to force them to see it, we're doing exactly what our oppressors have done, which is forced belief. And that's not how humanity works, right? When you're willing to understand, understand who you are. And that doesn't mean you let someone abuse you or oppress you or treat you badly, but the willingness to understand opens so many doors for growth and transformation of a community, of an entire world. Where we need to do it. Start with individuals in our own homes. We got to seek first to understand in our own house.
Yes, honey. Yes. I mean, because it comes in everything, right? We Latinos have to face the prejudice against our Afro-Latinos. It is there. People cannot say that it doesn't exist. That is the first thing you ask someone who's like, well, I don't know. Do you think the Black people in our community get the same treatment that our white folks in our communities do? That's all you have to ask. Because if someone says yes, you're going to be like, where are you living? Because I want to go there.
Right. It's funny because both of I'm resonating so much with, I love this conversation. I'm resonating with both of what you're saying, because I think personally, we have a tendency to think, oh, well, they think the way I think, or they know what I know, or they should think the way I think, or they should know what I know. That there's this automatic thing that happens, and that if you say something or you have a certain feeling, that the other person is just going to have pure empathy with that. And that's just not true. That's just not the way it works, because we have our own pain centers. We have our own life experience based upon that pain center. And then we have our own understanding about how the world around us works based upon all of that. So we got to communicate. We got to talk to each other about some of this and get, like Javi, you were talking about the experience of immigrants before or during the 17 and 1800s where they were getting hit on hard by previous immigrants who had already come here and who were in power, right? So you got to understand all that everybody has a different life experience.
Yeah, I mean, even here in the United States, they treat it, again, because I'm reading on my people, and I understand like the way they treated Puerto Ricans here, it was equivalent to how they treat Mexicans today, right? They're lazy, they don't want to work, they're savages. You go on, and these are words from presidents of the United States.
Yes.
Talking about my people.
Yes. Yes.
Like, these are things that have happened. So people need to understand how history works, understand what your politicians around you look like, get involved. Again, that's the micro level. Start getting to know who is around you, who is your police. I remember, again, growing up in a community where we knew who our police people were.
Yep.
We knew them by name. I mean, we knew that we could not act any funny, even if we were just chilling, because they would call my dad and be like, yo, I just saw your son, right? Like, that's how community works. Here in New York City, I don't know any police officer. I don't even know the security people that work around the complex, to be honest. So I think that we have a lot of work to do, but is necessary. And the good thing is that we have the youth that is really driving this and really has the potential to change what the future looks like, because there hasn't been a youth generation as awake as this generation, sadly, but thankfully.
Candice, do you want to jump in on that? Did you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I love what Javi said about the youth is always the hope, right? The new generations are always the hope. And I think that what I would want the takeaway to be is that, we are what we align with and what we believe ourselves to be. Right. So in as much as we want to change the thinking of others, it's like, the willingness to align with what it is that we believe is what changes other people's thinking. It's what inspires other people to change as well. And when we're attached to changing others, it will be a long, long fight. But when we're willing to say, you know what, this starts with me, it's so much easier. I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy.
No.
It's possible. Right? As opposed to being attached to making other people think. And yeah, I mean, I think that for 2021, the best sort of, way to transition into this, whatever it's going to be, is to be in surrender with, now we know for sure that we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no telling, and we don't know, what occurrences between us are going to be the catalyst for something negative or positive or whatever. There's no way to predict any of it. And I think the way to transition into 2020 is to be in surrender around that. And just know that if I continue to align with who it is I want to be, what it is I want to see in the world, and I'm willing to be a stand for others in that way, and just being who I need to be, and understanding how important empathy is, I think that's the way to get through it.
Yeah.
Well, we do know one or actually two things or three things that are going to happen in 2021.
What's that?
All three of your shows are coming back.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's give people a little sneak preview of what's going to be happening. So what do you think you're going to be focusing on in 2021, Candy, on Ask for Candy?
Yeah. Well, I'm always going to be focusing on unconditional self-love. Like, I feel like that's the apex. I'm always going to be focusing on how we can heal, how we can be in a healing conversation, how we can allow ourselves to, transform in a gentle way so that we can then overflow with love onto others. So I don't know exactly how that's going to look in the new year. Start having more guests and things like that. And you know me, I kind of create it as I go. But you can, anyone who listens and tunes in, they can rely on that we will be finding all the different ways to heal and love ourselves.
Nice. Javi, what are you going to be doing, man? I'm like, woo.
I know, I can't wait. Well, next week on Thursday, FYI, which will be my last show for this season, we have Dr. Oh my God, I'm blanking. Cardenas. Oh my God.
Take your time.
It's coming. It's not good. It's going to come to me. Yvette Calderon, Dr. Yvette Calderon, who is the director of the emergency room at Mount Sinai, and she is the one who has been handling COVID. So another Puerto Rican sister who's going to be able to talk to us, not only on what COVID has done, but also what it has done specifically to our people of color and Black folks. And then Bruce Goldstein, I hope that he's going to be able to come on because he's a civil rights lawyer for immigration and farm workers. And I think that's something that we need to talk about is our farm workers, understanding that we are eating this holiday season thanks to our immigrant brothers and sisters.
Yeah, amen.
We need to understand that COVID is rampaging through them as well. So that's going to be my closing of the show because I want to leave people with hopes of like, listen, this next couple of months are going to be X, Y, and Z. What can we do? But for the next season, I really think that I want to continue creating a hub for these topics that we need to discuss. So definitely Kenneth Romero and Cristina Carrica will be back once a month doing our political analyst, right? For everything, because we're going to have to stay on top of it, guys. Just because Biden and Kamala are on at the office doesn't mean that everything's going to go away. What it means is that we have to stay on top of them and say, hey, what are you going to do about X, Y, and Z, right? So Christina and Kenneth are great to help us navigate that. I'm talking to a few other people about other little hubs that I, again, think that are necessary in creating, where people can come once a month and say, I'm going to learn about this, and I'm going to go to Soulivity, I'm going to go to Conciencias, I'm going to go, if there's dating and self-love, go to Candy, all those kind of things. I think that Soulivity is a really good place that does that. So I really think that for 2021, I really hope that it continues being a solution-based niche, right? A home to create solutions for everyone, a multicultural world.
Absolutely. You can bank on that. Now, speaking of things you can bank on, you, Javi, you, Candice, and D'Angelo are going to be part of a special event next Saturday. Ooh.
That's right.
And if you don't know about that, everybody, we partner with Beyond Words Publishing, our very happy and strategic partner to present the New Year, New You event that's going to be happening Saturday, December 12th at 1 p.m. We're going to be posting information in our chat. It's going to be at Facebook Live. There's going to be 12 different speakers that are going to be part of this whole thing with moderations by yours truly and our rest of our Soulivity hosts. So go register now. Tickets are on sale at facebook.com at our Facebook page, as well as Beyond Words Facebook page. So you can check out, you go to soulivity.com, New Year, New You, for even more information about the different segments that are going to be happening. I mean, it's going to be fabulous. I cannot wait. You guys, I mean, we've had like conversations, guys, before, over the last week or so about the different segments. And I think people are really, really going to be blown away by what we're going to be doing. So I'm thankful that you guys are part of that. Really am.
Thank you.
Woo!
I think it's going to be great.
And this is not just, it's going to be at least a 4-hour event, everybody. So this is not just, a drive-by inspiration thing. This is going to be deep to help you move into 2021 with more clarity, inspired to live exactly the life that kind of like you, Javi, were describing, and you too, Candice, around doing that journey within so you can be more effective in your own life and affecting other people in their lives in terms of their community and our global world around us. So thank you for that. I want to once again just let people know that you can watch replays of Ask for Candy, Conciencias con Cocktails, and Beauty and Gratitude with D'Angelo Thompson by going to our Soulivity YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe while you are there. And coming up tomorrow is Live with Jesse and Melva at 5:30. Jesse and Melva, or as I call them, Mom and Dad. They're going to be continuing their series on secrets to success in love. Ooh, I think they're on episode 8, guys.
Know.
Right?
I know, right? I'm trying to catch up with them. Wow. Guys, thank you. As always, this is like special for me. So thanks again. I want to ask each of you for one quick wish for 2021. What's your one wish that you would like to have happen for 2021? And I'll go to you, Javi, first.
I'm going to wish it, but also work really, really hard to make that come true fruition. But unity and equality for everyone who is around me and the world. So like Candy said, you start with yourself. You start with what you are able to control. So I'm starting with myself. 2020 has transitioned some people out, and it has transitioned some people in, and I welcome it. I trust it. And the fact that I'm here with both of you tells me that I did okay in 2020.
Thank you, Javi. What about you, Candy? What's your one wish for 2021?
My one wish for 2021, which is my one wish every year, is that the light takes over the dark. Those of us who consider ourselves to be healers or light workers or transformationalists or whatever you want to call us, my wish is that it becomes just as pandemic as the pandemic.
Wow. Thank you, Candy, for that. And thank you, guys. Well, on behalf of myself, Candice, Javier, and D'Angelo, thank you for being with us. This is our last show of the season, but we'll be back in either late January, early February for a new season of Soulivity Live. Maybe we'll kick it off with the three of you once again.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you can guys. We can do a little sneak preview of the season to come, season 2 of each of your shows. And thank you to all of you for joining us. As always, we are wishing you love, passion, purpose, and of course, high quality living. See you now. Bye. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Soulivity Live. Hey, how you doing, sir? My sister, how are you?
Hey.
This blend, right? we might need some more wine for this.
So let's get this party started, y'all. Hey, my sister, mademoiselle.
That is the most amazing introduction I've ever heard.
Oh, for being here. Oh, what an amazing day. Go make it even more amazing. Myself and Addison, Brian Westley Johnson. Thank you for joining us on Saturday morning. Full of passion, purpose, and high quality living. See you next time. I'm done. Watch Soulivity Live with Brian Westley Johnson every Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Soulivity TV. Soulivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Soulivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Soulivity magazine shows by going to soulivity.com now.